Good morning and welcome to Raw Vlog 39. Raw vlogs are recorded in front of a live steering wheel and delivered to you raw and unedited. I'm on my way to getting my morning coffee and we're going to be talking about stuff. If you're unfamiliar with the channel, I'm Alan. This is the MTB ALAN channel. Hit that subscribe button and get fresh mountain bike oriented content every Monday at 5 p.m. And today's raw vlog, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Totally unprepped, so we're just off the cuff. Channel news, this Saturday coming up, the 29th, we're going to be doing a group ride with the Path Bike Shop in Laguna, leaving from basically the Willow staging area, the bottom of Willow, at around 8:15. I think the gates open at the Willow staging area at 8, but park wherever you want, show up down there, and we're gonna climb up Willow. We'll probably come down Lizards, traverse over to TNA, aka Laguna Ridge, and then do that. And then I think there'll be a point there where you can bail out if you want to, and then I think we'll be going up the Aliso side and doing some stuff over there. So if you're into that, show up for that. Should be rad. The Path, we're doing that with the Path. Other shop news, I'm really working on getting this episode out for this Monday. I get a ton of questions about my chin mount for my GoPro. Where do I mount it? How do I mount it there? And how well does that mounting work? How well is it stood up? So I would really like to answer that question in a video, as well as show a potential new way to mount it on the chin, a less permanent way. Tony from the Outsider MTB channel helped me test that out, so we'll be putting that together hopefully this Monday. Other channel news is I've decided to go to the Sedona Mountain Bike Festival, so I should be there. I'm not sure if I'll be there on Friday. I'm planning on being there Saturday and Sunday. If I can take the Friday off work, then I will try to get out there and be out there Friday as well. Not really sure. We'll see how that goes. I think that's it for channel news. There's just been a bunch of stuff rattling around in my brain this last week, and I wasn't really sure. Oh, Stoke of the Week. The Stoke of the Week is that I'm gonna be going to Sedona Mountain Bike Festival. I know that's a little bit of ways away, and it's in the future, and who knows what'll happen between now and then. But just planning on going to my first ever mountain bike festival is just got me stoked out. That's cool. I don't know what else I need to say about that, other than that it is cool. Stuff I forgot. So I talked last week about not trying to be a success and being in a process mode. And what the whole thing that had triggered that, and I forgot to mention that the whole thing that triggered that thought process and that conversation was that I realized that I often go into a day of riding with some level of performance anxiety. And I kind of had to inspect that and be like, why? I'm gonna go ride my bike. Like, why am I tripping on that? And why, also how did that come to my consciousness now? So if we back up and we go, basically I was often coming into a day of riding wanting to have, wanting to be well, let me just back up. I basically wanted to be a successful mountain biker, whatever that means, right? But the idea being I wanted to have some level of status, I guess, as a mountain biker. I was all caught up, I think, in other people's opinions. And all of that was still there as I was coming back from this, injury. It's still a thing. So somebody would say, hey, let's go ride. and maybe I'd never ridden with that person before, and I knew either from their Instagram posts or whatever that they were a legit rider and they were riding gnarly stuff. So I immediately would be scared. I would be reluctant to accept the invitation, partly because I was thinking I wasn't going to be able to perform. You know, I was going to be limited by my wrist, and even trails that I knew, I would be reluctant to hit because I knew the gnar that was there, and then especially trails that I didn't know that maybe I'd only seen YouTube videos of, I'd be additionally reluctant to go on those rides because I was afraid I just wasn't going to be able to perform. And well, that wasn't the true fear. The true fear was I was afraid I was going to look like I could not, like I was not capable. I was an unsuccessful mountain biker in the eyes of the people that were on that ride. Which is, it's so funny, you know, because like when you, at least for me, when I go through those thought processes, if I turn that around and imagine somebody else responding to me in that way, or sorry, if I imagine myself responding to somebody else in that way, I find that ridiculous. Like, I would never, like, if I knew somebody had a wrist injury, or even if they didn't, if they just, I don't have to know anything about them, but if I go on a ride with somebody that it's my first time riding with them, I'm not gonna judge them. If they're slower, if they're faster, whatever, if they no good in turns, but are whatever, like, I'm not gonna judge them. We're out on it, we're having a day on the bike, you know. If anything, I'm looking at like personality, like how well do I get along with that person. So yeah, so why was I tripping out on that and all that stuff? I don't really know if it matters why, but the reason I was talking about that last week is I was thinking about, I don't need to go into a day of riding or even think about my experience in mountain biking as trying to be a successful mountain biker, but just mountain bike, and be wherever it is I'm at. So that's why I talked about that last week, and it's funny that I never like connected it in the raw vlog last week. I didn't connect it for you to the mountain biking, so there's that. Yeah, so the other stuff that I've been thinking about is the kind of the value of mediocrity in our lives. So there's a couple of slices of that. One slice is that, you know, like, I think, I don't want to sound like I'm just settling, but I think I'm just being realistic that I'm gonna kind of suck at most things that I do. And if I'm lucky, I'm gonna be mediocre at a fair number of the things I do. And I'm gonna hopefully excel at least one or two things in my life. I think that's a reasonable thing to hope for and go for. And I don't know about you, but I've definitely been guilty of trying to be awesome at everything in my life, whether it's my, you know, what I do as a career, or loading the dishwasher. So I don't know why I have that. I don't know if you have that about you, but I definitely have had that about me, and I think it could be seen as just, you know, getting older and settling. I try to see it as trying to actually focus and just be okay with having a lot of my life just be okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then concentrate my energies on specific things in my life where I want them to be really awesome. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And there's another aspect of that where it doesn't have to be like a whole area of your life. It can be, I can be, say, in mountain biking, I can be maybe okay at dealing with like really rocky and steep stuff, and be really good at maybe turns. And then I can work on, I can be going back to the rocky stuff, I can be mediocre at all that stuff, but I can get maybe better at one thing within riding rocky and steep stuff, and then concentrate on that. So like have these like really kind of acute things that I'm concentrating on, and I guess that's called skills and drills, right? And by that you start to get better at all those things. So that's a kind of another slice of it. Another slice of the value of mediocrity is, I want to do this without trying to toot my own horn. I think this, whatever. So a number of you hit 650B up at Snow Summit after you saw my video. I only know this because you've either told me in the comments or you told me on the trail. And for me, that just really stokes me out. But I think the relevant point of that in this discussion is, I'm sure a lot of you had seen, you know, Dylan Stark going off of that, maybe doing backflips off of it or whatever, or you've seen all these other riders go over it, but you may have felt like they were a few levels beyond you. And when you saw me go over it, you maybe felt like I was more along the lines of the skill level that you were at. I was, you know, I'm not this like amazing rider, and because I could do it, it emboldened you to do it. And I can really appreciate that because I experienced that myself as well. So I think there's that kind of value in it, and just in finding value in that. Yeah, it's crazy for me to say this right now because about being like the value of mediocrity, because I've never really been about it, but it's, I guess maybe the angle for me is like excellence through mediocrity, if that makes sense. So, you know, kind of recapping that, like, being okay with that mediocrity allows you to focus on particular things and be excellent in those things. And at the same time, it allows you to have acute focuses on parts of your mediocrity and allow you to get excellent results there or whatever. And then like that kind of spreads out. And then it also allows us to realize it's easier to relate to each other in that way. Wow, I didn't really mean to come up with a subject matter. I wanted to kind of go a little bit longer today, but I've got my OT appointment coming up here, so I need to go in, get my coffee, and get to my OT appointment. Hope you dug this episode 39th raw vlog. We're almost at 40. Maybe I'll see you at Sedona Mountain Bike Festival. Maybe I'll see you Saturday in Laguna. In any case, hope you dug this. Hit that like button. Check to see if you're subscribed. If you're not, hit that subscribe button. I'll show up in your feed and you'll be supporting the channel. See you next week.